It's like if you love something, if you've ever been in love with something, you hold on to that for dear life. And that's the way I feel about my craft, my art. I love the art of acting and filmmaking and making films. When you're a kid, you're 16 or 17 years old, you're ready to graduate high school. Everybody's like, "Hey, Marty, what are you going to be when you grow up? A lawyer or a doctor?" My father, I'm sure, wanted me to become a lawyer. Everybody wants, at that time, everybody wanted a kid to become a doctor or a lawyer or a profession like that. And I chose something that was foreign to my family. What is Joey going to do? Is he going to be an actor? Joey, you sure you want to do that? So it was, yeah. And my mother used to go to a movie, and the first couple of movies I was in, I end up, getting killed in the movie. And she would say, "Joey, you're not going to get killed in this movie, are you?"
That's the Italian household, you want to be an actor, you want to be a comedian, then they'll run down to the local church, start saying novenas, God forbid, because they don't see the actual vocation, and that's what it is. It's a vocation, something that's calling you, that's nagging at you to want to do. And what I like about you is that you're also one of those actors that have done stage and film, and that's not an easy thing to do. I think there's an element of people now, actors, actresses, that just want to get famous. They just want to be, the next big thing, but they don't put the time in to really learn that craft on
Yeah,
stage.
that's not the way I came up. I came up with, you started in theater, and you learned your craft. I just finished doing Death of a Salesman, which is an interesting story. I was 8 years old, maybe nine, sitting in Patterson, New Jersey. My dad was sitting in a chair like this, and I was sitting at his side. And in front of me was a 19-inch black and white Emerson television. I remember this like it was yesterday. And I watched Lee J. Cobb in Death of a Salesman. It was like Playhouse 90, whatever it was. And I was absolutely mesmerized. It stuck in my head. And after I had finished Gianni, I did the post on it because I was a producer on it also. Uh, I walked into a restaurant in the Valley and I ran into Mark Blanchard, who's a director I had done True West with on stage. And I did another play called Cody Angelino is Coming at the Met Theater, which is a theater I had in LA with 17 other actors like Tom Bauer, Ed Harris, Holly Hunter. And he had directed me in those two plays. And we hadn't seen each other in a while. And we started talking. And he said, "Yeah, you finished this movie. I heard great things." And I said, "Thanks." He said, "Dude, if you could do any play, what would you do?" If you play, I said, "I've always wanted to do Death of a Salesman." And 2 months later, we were in rehearsal with Francis Fisher playing Linda. And we did it at the Colony Theater, Equity House in Burbank, 300 seats. Beautiful, beautiful space, It's exactly the space. I wouldn't want to do this in a 1,500 seat theater. You know what I mean? Because it's the intimacy of what's going on is, for me, it was the perfect space. Ultimately, we shot 3 live performances with 5 cameras, 4 and 5 cameras. And I had my crew from here, Gianni, shoot it, my editor, Sean. And, we just cut it together. And now we're going out and trying to sell it worldwide on, a platform or VOD for the world to see this play. And we were reviewed very, very well. So it was a kind of a dream come true for me. I got to play Willie Loman, which is probably one of the most iconic stage roles in the American theater. It's certainly one of the great plays. I mean, Miller was a giant.
And I remember you mentioned this actually when you spoke on Chaz Palminteri's podcast, which, by the way, was a great one. I'm a big fan of Chaz. He's got a great show, and I love that interview you did with him. And if I remember correctly, I think one of you might have mentioned who played that part the best, and it was Lee J. Cobb, right?
Yeah, Lee Jacob. I mean, I can't, mesmerizing for me. And a lot of actors have done it. Brian Dennehy did it. Dustin did it. I think George C. Scott did it, who was one of my favorite actors. We shot it with 5 cameras, so it's not like just a play. It's not shot like a movie either. It's sort of a hybrid.
Right, combination, medium shot, wide,
Yeah,
wide.
yeah. When Pesci and I had a lot of fun, we came out to. We had no money. We had to do whatever we had to do to get a ticket. We flew to Vegas, and we ended up going to Tommy DeVito, who was one of the Four Seasons, who gave us a car in 300 hours, and we drove from Vegas to LA. And it was real fun. It was very exciting. We were young and full of piss and vinegar. Uh, I mean, I've got so many different stories. One of the great stories about the song I have in here, Gianni's called "Remember to Remember," which was written by Diane Warren and performed by Train. And how that happened was because I couldn't afford her. Was I sent her the movie and was sort of saying, somebody could write a song for this. And she saw the movie and she said, yeah, me, under one condition. I said, what's that? She said, you got to get Pat Monahan from Train to sing the song. So I have a couple of friends in the music business. In 72 hours, I had Pat Monahan.
Wow.
And the song is just beautiful. I mean, she's been nominated 15 times. And, Train has won 2 Grammys. So it's really a first rate piece of work. I've had an interesting ride for sure. The first night I met Pacino, this is interesting. So I just finished The Death Collector, and I used to take the bus from New York City to Patterson on Sundays, have macaroni with the family. I come out of the Port Authority. I'm walking up 42nd Street. I'm living in the West Village, and I see this huge poster of myself, The Death Collector, on 42nd Street, right? Anyway, I'm in my apartment when I get a call from Ann Johns. Ann Johns played my girlfriend in the movie. She said, Joe, I'm up at the Right Bank on 68th and Madison with Al. We just saw The Death Collector. He wants to meet you. So I jump in a cab. I go up there and I meet Pacino. And we started to have more than a couple of drinks. And that's how I met him. And of course, when all the Italian American actors that were prominent at the time, I sort of met them for jobs. Like I met Sly for a job, but De Niro for the Raging Bull, Pacino for Bobby Deerfield to play his brother. Like yourself, you're a filmmaker, right?
Yeah, I'm still a budding one, but it's like you said, it's sort of a bug. I did a few shorts and actually won an award with Washington Avenue was my first short, and it's fun. But like you said, there's always some sort of even with a short, there's always a lot of headaches. It's so hard to really. I don't think people realize how hard it is to actually make a short, let alone a full feature. And there's always problems, but that's all. It's about being a producer is putting out fires and trying to pivot and fix and
It's people, on the outside, people looking in, it's the most fascinating business when it's working for you. When it's working for you and you're in Italy, first class doing a film, or, I've been in Israel, Italy, Australia, Hungary, on and on, I've made a couple of films in Italy. I never want to get back on the plane. When I go there, it's hard for me to leave, right? So it's been exciting like that, but the price you pay is very dear. It's a lot of, you know, Pacino told me one thing. This is 1976. Prepare to be disappointed. And that's so true. The other thing is, and I mentioned this on Jazz's show, is there's an element of luck that you have to have, or it's not going to happen for you. I mean, I'm being That's my opinion. You know, I've been luckier than most, but it's a difficult business, man. It's hard. The competition is, there's a lot of talent out there. I know, I see actors at the actor studio or wherever with tremendous talent, tremendous, can't get a job, you know. So it's very, very difficult, and it's very disappointing, and you just have to have really thick skin. I mean, I don't know how I survived it. Like I said, when Chaz said to me, "You never quit." I just, I didn't know how to quit. And believe me, I thought of it a few times.
And Joe, it's the truth. I mean, there is, and sometimes I hate to even admit it, even though I know it is true. You do need a certain amount of luck, but see, luck sometimes presents itself a little bit hidden. And whether it's an encounter with someone that you don't, maybe you would rather, you could have brushed that guy off who offered you a job with GQ. You'd be like, yeah, beat it, whatever. But and that could have set your whole life in a whole different path. So yes, I do believe, for good or for better or for worse, luck does have a serious play in things. But no doubt you have to work hard, because the work, the harder you work, as they say, the luckier you get. But persistence too. You couple that with that, and you look like to be in the business since the '70s. Really, it takes a lot of courage and a lot of heart.
Yeah, no, you know, there's a lot of disappointments, heartbreaking. I played Roger Stone, which was a cameo, and then I played Giorgio Armani in the Versace piece, and I was really proud of the work, right? And they were sending me love letter notes, the Italian accent. I played Armani, and I loved his work. His fashion was the best. And then I get a call that they had to cut the whole section out because they didn't really have the rights to use his name, whatever the excuse was. It was a huge disappointment. That happens to every actor, and most actors in a career have disappointments, no matter who you are. Uh, but it's very, very difficult business. Yeah.
Well, you listen. You did a great job, and I want to mention again, Green Book, which I loved. It was a great movie, and you played that beginning scene with the hat. It was great, but you did a great job. And I'm also a very big fan of Nick Vallelonga, so shout out to Nick. He's great. He's a
Yeah,
great
he's a
talent
great
as well.
friend of mine. Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
surrounded by some really great people, and it sounds like you helped a lot of people, and a lot of people helped you, and that's what it's all about. I think the lesson is we all should help each other and help you, and we're all getting up, we're all climbing the same cliff, we're all on the same journey. We should try to help each other along the way.
If you have a friend or someone that has talent and you can help them, I think you should. That's the way it works. You have to give to get. You know,
Absolutely.
I want to see some of your movies.
What's that?
I want to see one of your movies.
Absolutely. I'll send you a link.
Yeah.
We just did a mob comedy. We wrapped on. It's in post production. It's a mob comedy. I like to say it's a Three Stooges meets The Godfather. So I think we need some levity these days. So we decided to do that.
The Three Stooges meet the Godfather.
it's
I like the concept.
about a bumbling gang of mobsters that just find all kinds of crazy ways to try to earn while not getting killed. So it's a lot of fun.
Right.
It's a passion project. We had it on the board for a couple of years now, so we finally got it done.
Well, good luck.
Thank you. And listen, Hollywood's is a little bit, like I say, is a little bit on tilt. People are trying to feel their way around. These streaming networks are killing it. We have a lot of different. I mean, we don't want to say the wrong things because you're in the business, but I tell you, we got to really start to think about this because Hollywood needs to get back to a sensible place in a lot of people's minds.
Nobody goes to the theater. A cinema, the cinema is about going into a space and experiencing a film, with other people there. It's a certain energy that happens. It's true, it's killing the business of streaming. On the other hand, in one night, 35 million people could see Yanni, right?
Yeah. Right.
But to try to put it in 10 theaters, and get an audience of 100 people a night is impossible. And, you know, to qualify for awards, like award season, you have to play in a certain amount of theaters for a certain amount of time. So it's difficult because they'd rather spend the money on it for streaming. You know, you go home, you got an 80-inch television or whatever. You sit back, you can stop the film. You know, it's just I don't like it.
I agree. And, you know, we're a different generation, but I still remember being young, you know, 10-year-old going, you know, to the video store in the corner, renting a cassette tape. I mean, I hope we can find a happy medium, you know, blend a little bit of both and maybe
Yeah.
at least bring back DVDs. Cause I think that's financially, it's a
Hey,
whole other segment that we're missing out on. And then make sure you leave a review. It's very important when you see these movies, please leave a review, whether
yeah.
it's on,
If
that's really important.
if you go on IMDb, and anybody can go there, you know, there's IMDb, then there's IMDb Pro, but you can review and you can rate a movie. Like I looked on it last night and I saw that Gianni has got 9 out of 10. Of course, already a handful of people have seen it, but you know, any movie can be rated like that. People can write reviews. So yeah, please do that.
Really important. I think we forget to do that a lot of times, but we should because it means a lot, and it could change the whole dynamic between you know, from one production to the next. So anyway, Joe, you've been great. I really appreciate you being here, and we hope to please stay in touch. Let us know how you make out with Here's Gianni, and we can't wait to watch it. And
Yeah.
until next time, have a great rest of your fall.
Same to you, Vince. My pleasure. This has been my pleasure.
Thanks a lot.